The intake manifold is only held on by 4 bolts. There's two 13mm nuts underneath. Well, they can just be backed off and slackened off. It doesn't matter about them because they're on slots. And then there's two 10mm headed bolts that go through here. However, I don't know if you probably can't see. Just wait a minute, see if I can move the camera up. It's got a shield on here. Usually they've all vibrated off. So I've got to take that off first to gain access to the bolts. They're 7mm. You can get to these bolts under here. They're kind of tricky to see. Oh, it's kind of tight as well. So we'll unscrew these. Now you can see now why we had to take that shield off. That's that one off. Now they are a bit tricky to get out. Now we'll change that socket to a 13mm. And get under here. And get those nuts backed off. Doesn't matter if they come off, you know, doesn't matter about that. Where is it there? There it is. There we go. So that's backed off. And that'll lift off. Filthy. Now, yeah, that's it's filthy for an exhaust. So the next thing we're going to do, again, what I'm going to do is just take the camera off. I'm just going to give my hands a quick rub, take the camera off, and I'll show you down inside what we're going to do. So the catalyzer down there, I don't know whether you can see it or not. It's not the seam that's sticking up, it's the actual catalyzer, so I'm not sure if I can pull this back. But if any of you have done these before, usually the studs come out of the head, which allows us to pull this back. What we're going to do is take this oil feed pipe off, because there's a 15mm headed bolt that goes under here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts to take off, and then we'll see if we can pull it back. I don't know. I don't want to make work for myself taking all this exhaust off and these pipes and this, that and the other, because it's the drain return that's a bugger to do on these. Let's see how we come on. To get the bolt off that's under these two here, the one that goes underneath, this is the best tool I've ever found so far. It's a 17mm thin wall 3/8, but I put a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter on, and that means then we can use a 1/2 inch drive because those bolts are tight. But you need something really thin to get in to the bolt. There, look, it's in now. So I'm going to pull all those off and let's see what happens next. So I've got most of the bolts out, but I want to show you something really interesting. When this head's been taken off before, I think they've changed the gasket, but not the manifold gasket. Look here, it's split here, here, here and here. That will result in low power. Alright, so there's the thing. I think they've just undone the flange bolt down here and just lifted it all off. Second thing, to get this bolt out of here is kind of tricky, so I'm just going to undo this 10mm bolt here and just move the dipstick out the way. Get this one out, and when you take these off, do them in a crisscross pattern, don't do them unevenly. Right, let's do that then. So, there we go, you see. Put a block of wood under, we managed to pull those back so we don't have to mess about taking the exhaust off. And it makes it lighter to get the head off. But you can see now instantly when I take these remaining bolts out of here, these nuts, off the bottom of the manifold, how bad that gasket is. See? That's it. Kaput. Things to watch for, eh? And you can see by taking off the dipstick it allows this to move back a bit further. I'll get that bit of manifold off later. The next thing, that's all off. I'm going to put the banjo bolt back in the oil hole so it doesn't get contaminated. Then we'll take the rocker box off. Nothing to taking the rocker box off, 13mm, just take them off evenly. Don't lose the bolts because they are kind of special, the nuts. They're not the sort of things that just spin out, you know what I mean? They've got a bit of a resistance in there because of the rubber. Let's try like this. There we go. One. Two. 3. Right, we'll take the cover off. Now just have a look. There's no damage on the insides. Nothing there I can see anyway. But I'm going to put this on the rocker box straight. When I lift this off, it's going to go straight on top of the cover here. So we need a deep 13mm socket and a 10mm. We've got to take these off evenly, if you see what I mean. We're nearly there. It's kind of exciting, isn't it? So let me find. I don't think I'm going to see. There's a 10mm for there, but I haven't got a 13mm deep socket. Not unless the power bar of my hands can take those nuts off. No, let's see. Oh yeah, they're not tight. Take these off evenly. Same goes for the 10mm. That's gone. Where's that gone? Yeah. So we'll just back those middle ones off. Yeah, it's tight now. Oh, I see a problem. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, you've got to spot it. I think it's a problem. But you might as well see it with me. So I'll keep this camera rolling. The rocker shafts on the 300 TDIs are remarkably good, unless you snap the belt. There doesn't seem to be much wear between the steel rockers and the actual shaft. It's pretty well lubricated, not like a V8 which are always going. Oh, rubbish now. Now, one thing we have to be sort of careful about this, when we take this off, we don't want the we don't want the end valves dropping off because we don't know how tight these are on the shaft. So that should just lift down. There we go. I'm going to transfer that over to here. Let me take the camera off and I'll do it live and I'll show you. Because you can't see from here. Let me just get a bigger stand somehow for my camera. Right, look at this. Here, one of those little caps is missing, look. See there, look. See that one? It's missing. Oh, that one's missing too. There you go. See? Simple little things you find out, eh? Yep. So, we're going to put all those little caps in a plastic bag so we don't lose them. Well, we don't lose any more. Obviously when they took it off they've lost them. And then we're going to get a bit of cardboard and we're going to mark up these holes here, mark some holes in to put the push rods in. So this is what I do. I get a piece of cardboard and I put a point on the end so I know it's the front, then I don't have to write down the numbers. We're going to push the push rods through. Now some people say that's not important, just put them away, but my dad used to do it, and his dad used to do it, and his dad's dad used to do it, and he only had a bicycle. Right, so let's take these out, push them through the little holes, which I didn't make deep enough, because there's sticky tape on the back. There we go. And then we're keeping them all in order, and also we're not losing them. Good old washing up. That's dirty oil in it. Really dirty oil. There we go. So there they are, all tidy, all in order, and you won't lose them. Next, the bit you have all been waiting for. We're going to pull this head off. So I'm going to rearrange the camera the best I can. And what we're going to do, I'll explain in a minute. There are a certain amount of unknowns on this engine. We know that the gasket's been replaced once before, but we don't know if the bolts have been replaced. I always like to replace them. They're not expensive, but there are stretch bolts. You can use them several times over, but for the price, just put new ones in and then you're guaranteed you're back to year zero. Now to get the head off, I'm going to work in an opposite direction to tightening them up. So I'm going to start on the extremity bolts. It doesn't really matter what order you do them in, but as long as you don't sort of go in a line this way or a line that way. So we're going to go crisscross, back to front and end up in the middle. I am going to use my impact. Why? Because we're going to replace the bolts. There's no point struggling on, is there? Oh, that wasn't tight. That wasn't tight. Neither was that one. Oh dear. Now this gun isn't... Why I say that is if you got a head properly tightened down, this gun just bounces because it's only £230. Well, allegedly. But it's pulling these bolts off like nobody's business. Look at that, eh? That was easy, wasn't it? Yeah, there's something wrong there. Yeah, it just didn't seem tight enough. And also, look carefully, I always mark the heads with an arrow or a number on them. These haven't been marked, so it could be a good sign that they've just pulled them down. Right, let's get these out of the way. Scrap. Now, one thing that you should notice on the 300 TDI, it's got a mounting bracket for the air cleaner, but this one hasn't got bolted down properly, so we'll just pull that out the way. It's missing a bolt that goes on the angle bracket. So that's it. The fluids are drained. Is it going to come off? Oh, it is. Oh, still got a bolt in there. Take these out. So let's see what this is like next week. No, I won't do that to you because you've been watching all this time. Here we go. Oh, forgot to take the thermostat there off. Here we go. Now, here we go. There's head. What can we see? I can't see any cracks. And here is the gasket. Now you would expect it to blow, but I can see where it's blowing. Can you, kids? Let me get a bit of paper towel. This is the old shitty gasket. This is the old type. I can see where it's blowing here, look. Let me get some brake cleaner on the job. Wait a minute.